Okay. Good morning, everyone. So today your topic is platelet disorder. Okay. So we will discuss under headings of introduction, role of platelet in hemostasis, its type, and the individual causes of the thrombocytopenias, pathogenesis, clinical feature, and lab findings. So, is it the similar term which you have studied in one lecture, hemostasis? Those who are from regular batch, can you remember anything about hemostasis? Can any one of you stand and tell me about hemostasis? About hemostasis, yeah, stand and tell.
Hemostasis is the process when there is an injury in the blood vessel. The platelets and the clotting factor they act together to stop the bleeding and heal the.
Yeah. Okay. So you have to know little bit about hemostasis. So the word hemo is blood and the stasis is to stop the bleeding. Okay. So whenever you are having any injury, there is bleeding, right? So it will we will bleed for 3 to 5 minutes. So after that the bleeding will stop. Why the bleeding will stop? Because there is plaque formation. Okay. So primary clot. Primary clot is formed by what? Platelets? Yeah. So primary clot is formed by platelets. Now this is an unstable plaque, so it has to be stabilized. So now in that site with the platelet, the clotting factors, what are the coagulation factors you know? Clotting factors, how many factors? The new ones? What? Can you stand and tell? Whosoever I have told from that side, can you stand and tell please? How many clotting factors? Anyone here also? What? How many clotting factors are there? Yeah, 12. So clotting factors are inactive in our body that will get activated, and from there the factor 1, which is fibrinogen, will come with the platelet and it will form the secondary clot. Okay, so little bit of hemostasis we have to, I will tell you again. Okay, so anyone, but how platelets are formed? You have, it has been taken so many times in the class. Erythroid precursors, myeloid precursors, how platelet is formed, anyone? Can you stand and tell? Okay, leave. So platelets are formed in the bone marrow by the process of fragmentation of the cytoplasm of megakaryocytes. The first cell will be blast, always blast, that is a megakaryoblast, and then from your pro-megakaryocyte, little bit about platelets because you will know about the platelet disorder, so you have to know from where platelets are coming. So pro-megakaryocyte, then megakaryocyte, which is the largest cell in the bone marrow, and then your platelet. So if you say this picture, you will remember this is the megakaryoblast. Next cell is a megakaryocyte and then is, pro-megakaryocyte and then megakaryocyte, which is the largest cell in the bone marrow, and then from this, after cytoplasmic fragmentation, it will burst out of the cytoplasm. These are the small platelets which you will see. Is it clear, the steps, how platelets are formed? Okay. So always remember, the platelets are disc-shaped cells that is produced in the megakaryocytes of the bone marrow. Next is the platelets are small. There is a discoid non-nucleate structure containing red to purple granules. So normal platelet count is how much? 1.5 to 4 lakhs, yeah. So the lifespan of platelet is 7 to 10 days. So about 70% of the platelets will remain in the circulation while the remaining 30% will be destroyed in the spleen. So now about the today's topic, that is disorders of platelets. So there are two types of disorder. One is your qualitative disorder and one is your quantitative disorder. From the name quantitative, quantity you are understanding, right? It is quantitative, so it will be quantity. So in platelets, there will be decrease in the number of the platelets. So if there is decrease in the number of the platelet, this condition is termed as thrombocytopenia. This is your long question. If thrombocytopenia comes as your long question, you have to write about ITP, TTP and HUS. That I will cover in this topic, and ITP itself is a long question in your exams, university exams. Okay. So another disorder is a functional disorder. So one is a quantitative disorder, one is a qualitative disorder. So in qualitative disorder, the platelet numbers will be normal. It is present in the body, but it is non-functional. So platelet cannot bind to the receptors and it cannot work. Okay, is it clear? What are the two types of disorder? Quantitative and qualitative. In quantitative, what is the new term you have learnt? What is thrombocytopenia? Less than 1.5 lakhs. And what is qualitative? Yeah, the platelet count is normal, but it is present, but it is non-functional. It is not able to work because they do not, they do not attach to the receptors. Okay. Okay, now what are the quantitative platelet disorder? It is two types. That is when it is less than 1.5 lakh, it is thrombocytopenia. When it is more than 4 lakhs, it is thrombocytosis. Okay, so now in qualitative platelet disorder, there are two types. One is a functional platelet disorder. In functional, you will get 3 more types because in primary hemostasis, what you have got is how the platelet plug is forming by platelet adhesion, by platelet aggregation and platelet secrete or release reaction that I'll explain for the new students in the next slides. Okay, now next is your hereditary or acquired disorder. So in qualitative there are two things. One is a functional, one is a hereditary or acquired. So in functional you will get 3 things. What is platelet adhesion, one is aggregation and one is release reaction. Okay. So next is now what I have asked you in the beginning. So the main function of the platelet is in hemostasis, which include the 2 processes. One is a primary hemostasis, one is a secondary hemostasis. So what is primary hemostasis? As I have told you, the platelet plug formation at the site of injury. Whenever you will have injury, whenever you will have cut, the bleeding will stop and it will form a temporary plug that is formed by the platelet. That is your primary hemostasis. Now in this there will be 3 steps. One is a platelet adhesion, one is a platelet aggregation and one is a platelet release reaction. Now you have to understand, so that you can understand the disease, what is platelet adhesion. Anyone? By this picture, what is platelet adhesion? What is happening? No, not correct totally. Okay, so this is the intact basement membrane. Okay, for the new students, this is the intact basement membrane. You can see there is the rupture here in the basement membrane, right? So this green color are your platelets. So whenever there is a rupture, it will expose the subendothelial collagen and the von Willebrand factor. So 2 things will get exposed. One is a von Willebrand factor and your collagen. Now this platelet has come to seal the wound. Okay. So this green color are your platelets. So this platelet will form a bond with von Willebrand factor and collagen. This is your platelet adhesion. Is it clear? Everyone, is it clear? What is platelet adhesion? What is platelet adhesion? You can tell me together, no issues. Whenever there is injury, okay, this is the injured side, right? It is broken. You can see here all the intact endothelial cells, that site is broken. So platelet will come and form bond with von Willebrand factor and collagen. Okay, that is your platelet adhesion. That is your first step. Now next we have to understand what is platelet granule release. How it is happening? When there is the platelet has adhered to the collagen, that is von Willebrand factor and collagen, you can see here from the platelet red granule are being released. That is, the platelet is calling the other platelet from the body for the backup, because there is a wound, you have to come and seal the wound. Okay, so next step is a granule release by the release of ADP and thromboxane. Okay, next is your aggregation. What is platelet aggregation? Now all the platelets from the body are coming and they are forming a multi-storage building type of thing, one after another, one row, then second row, then third row. So platelet plus platelet bond is known as platelet aggregation. Is it clear? The 3 things: platelet adhesion, platelet granule release and platelet aggregation. Yes or no? Everyone? Yes? Okay. So next is your secondary hemostasis. So what is secondary hemostasis? This involves the plasma coagulation system. As I have told you, all the clotting factors that are inactive in your body, that will get activated after injury, and from your factors, the fibrinogen, that is the first factor that will be converted to fibrin, and now this green color whole thing platelet, it is covered with fibrin meshwork and the wound is that is permanently sealed. Is it clear? The primary and secondary hemostasis. Okay, next we will move on to the main topic, that is hemorrhagic diathesis, that is bleeding disorders. due to platelets. So how it will happen? By one of the three mechanisms. First is due to reduction in the number of the platelet, that we will study about the various forms of thrombocytopenias. Next is whenever there is increase in platelet count, that is thrombocytosis, and due to defective platelet functions. So first topic that is most important is thrombocytopenia. So what is the definition of thrombocytopenia? Reduction in the number of platelets in the peripheral blood that is less than 1.5 lakhs per cubic mm. So how it will happen? It will happen by four main mechanisms. One thing is that there will be increase in the peripheral destruction of the platelets. Okay. Next mechanism is decreased production of the platelets in the bone marrow, and next is dilutional thrombocytopenia. What is dilutional thrombocytopenia? Whenever there is a massive blood transfusion of the old stored blood, then the patient in the bleeding disorders, that is known as dilutional thrombocytopenia. Next is the sequestration in the enlarged spleen. So these are the four causes of thrombocytopenia. I'll explain in the next subsequent slides how it is happening. So whenever the platelet count is 20,000 to 50,000, there will be mild bleeding. Without injury also, like patient will bleed, mild spontaneous bleeding. When the platelet is below 20,000, it is having high risk of severe hemorrhage. Okay. Now this you have to understand, there are two types of thrombocytopenias. One is amegakaryocytic, one is megakaryocytic. So with this picture you have to understand so that you can understand the rest of the diseases. Okay, so this is your bone marrow. Okay, so amegakaryocytic, A is for absent. Okay, so this is your bone marrow. Now here you can see the bone marrow. Here, is it visible? The things, the inside this small megakaryocyte, is it visible? It is. Okay. So the first thing is that there will be bone marrow. Here the main is the two things. One will be problem in the bone marrow, or if it is not visible, please tell me, I'll draw in that board, no issues. Okay. So one is a problem in the bone marrow, or it will be problem in the peripheral blood vessels. Okay, so what is amegakaryocytic? It is absent megakaryocyte. So now in hematopoietic stem cells, what are the cells? RBC, WBC and platelets. So we are reading about what? Platelets. So there will be megakaryocyte in the bone marrow. From megakaryocyte, what we will get? From megakaryocyte, what is the next cell we will get? Platelets? Yeah. So hematopoietic stem cells, there will be reduced production of the megakaryocyte. Always remember from the name, that is a megakaryocyte means absent megakaryocyte. So there will be reduced production of the megakaryocyte. So when there is megakaryocyte itself is reduced, so platelet will be less in the peripheral blood film, right? So in the peripheral blood vessels, the platelet will be less. So here bone marrow is defective in amegakaryocytic thrombocytopenia. Next is your megakaryocytic thrombocytopenia. Here the bone marrow function is normal, only the peripheral destruction. Now what is happening? The bone marrow is producing megakaryocyte in abundant pools of megakaryocyte, but from this megakaryocyte, whenever the platelet is being produced in the blood vessel, they are getting destroyed. How they are getting destroyed? Maybe it is by autoantibodies, that is your immune thrombocytopenic purpura in ITP, maybe by a bacteria, that is in HUS, hemolytic uremic syndrome, or maybe by a thrombus, that is your TTP. Okay, we will read the individual thrombocytopenias. Did you understand what is amegakaryocytic and megakaryocytic? So in amegakaryocytic, there is a problem in the bone marrow or the blood? Bone marrow. And in megakaryocytic? Can you answer this row? Anyone? In megakaryocytic, what is the problem in the bone marrow or blood? Blood, yeah. So today our main concern will be megakaryocytic thrombocytopenias. We will cover the three thrombocytopenias, that is ITP, TTP and HUS. Okay. So what are the now causes of this? See, when there is amegakaryocytic thrombocytopenia, it will occur due to bone marrow failure, B12 and folate deficiency, leukemias, myelodysplastic syndrome or some drugs. Now in megakaryocytic thrombocytopenia, which are our concern, that is your immune causes and non-immune causes. So we will cover ITP, TTP and HUS. Okay, so the first topic, individual, ITP itself individually comes as a long question from platelet disorder. Okay, so what is the definition of ITP? It is characterized by immunological destruction of the platelet by autoantibodies of class IgG. What is the meaning of this? Now, the platelet will be destroyed. So, when a foreign cell comes in our body, who is the first cell to come? Antibody, right? Antibody will come. Okay, so antibody will kill the foreign cell. Okay, so it doesn't kill our own cell, right? But here the antibody is killing its own cell. Okay, so it is destruction of the platelet by autoantibodies. So what is happening? It is due to peripheral platelet destruction. That is, we have already seen there will be increase in the megakaryocyte, right? We have seen here there will be increase in the megakaryocyte in the bone marrow, in megakaryocytic thrombocytopenias, and there will be peripheral destruction. So in ITP it is by autoantibody formation. Is it clear? Okay, so autoantibodies will form. We will see how it is formed, and it is destroying the platelets. Okay, so that's why the name is immune, because it is due to immune mechanism. It is causing less platelets, so thrombocytopenic, and purpura is your bleeding. Okay, so immune, thrombocytopenic, purpura, and you should remember this is a type 2 hypersensitivity reaction. Now there are two types of ITP based on the duration of illness. One is your acute ITP, one is your chronic ITP. So how you will classify those? When it is acute ITP in children, so always remember acute ITP occurs in children of 2 to 6 years due to a viral infection. Okay, so it is male equal to female, the population is same, and it is occurring in children. So how it is happening? Now you have to understand the pathogenesis, how autoantibodies are formed. So whenever there is a viral antigen, okay, in a blood vessel, what is happening? First cell is antibodies will come. Okay, whenever there is a virus in the vessel, antibodies will come. Now antibodies has come, but the viral antigen, the coating of this virus has the same antigen as the platelet in the child circulation. Okay, so now this antibody will get confused, like if there is same antigen in the virus outer wall and same antigen in the platelet, so now it is getting confused and it is killing the platelet instead of the virus. Do you get it? All of you, did you get it? Okay, I'll tell once again. So there is a viral antigen in this child, okay, that has entered the blood vessel. Now what is happening next? Antibodies has come to kill the virus, right? So now this virus in the outer wall, there is some antigen that is similar to the platelet that is flowing in the blood vessel. Okay, same antigen. Now that antibody has to kill the viral antigen, right? Okay, so now this antibody is killing the platelet antigen instead of the virus. So there is cross reaction with the platelet, and there is destruction of its own platelet, and then there is thrombocytopenia. Is it clear? Yes or no? Okay, so you should tell me, those who have understood, acute ITP occurs in children or adults? It is occurring by following a viral infection. Okay, so next what is happening? What is your name? Krishna. Okay. So whenever there is a viral antigen, okay, so the child is attacked by a virus, because it is written here that is following recovery from a viral infection. So now viral antigen has come in the blood vessels. In the vessel, right, I have shown you in that picture. In this vessel, there are platelets, right? Now in this platelet, the virus has also come. So first cell is antibody. Antibody kills the foreign cell, right? So now what antibody will do? Antibody will kill the foreign cell, but here what is happening? Because the viral antigen has a similar, coating of antigen like that of the platelet. Platelet antigen coating and the virus antigen coating is same. So this antibody now, it will get confused. Instead of killing the viral antigen, it is killing its own platelets. So in ITP, it is destruction of the platelet by autoantibodies. Is it clear? Okay. So by this process, what is happening? There is immunological destruction of the platelets and thrombocytopenia is developing. So there will be less platelet because platelets are killed. Okay, so now the difference of chronic ITP, you can understand it is occurring in adults. Now here the female is more than male. Here no viral antigens are there. So it is by formation of only antiplatelet autoantibodies. So the difference is clear, acute and chronic. Acute is in children, chronic is in adult. Here the male to female ratio is same. Here the females are, there is one viral antigen which will come and thrombocytopenia will develop. Here no viral antigen. So here directly formation of antiplatelet autoantibodies. So now is the clinical feature. In all this bleeding disorder, clinical feature is same. You can remember it easily. First is the petechial hemorrhages. So there are small petechiae over the skin. Then easy bruising, easy mucosal bruising, conjunctival bruising, and then menorrhagia in women. And then nasal bleeding, all bleeding from gums, blood in the stool, that is melena, and then hematuria, blood in the urine, and intracranial hemorrhage, that is blood in brain. So everything is bleeding from all the sides. You can remember it easily. Now in lab finding, what will happen? Platelet count will be increased or decreased by your common sense. It will decrease. BT will be increased or decreased because the person is bleeding, right? So from a normal person, the BT will be increased in ITP patient. Okay. So next is in blood film, you will get occasional platelets. See here in a normal patient, there are so many platelets, clump of platelet. But here in ITP patient, the platelet is very less. There are occasional platelets. And in bone marrow, there will be increase in megakaryocyte, because in that picture you have seen in bone marrow, there is abundant production of megakaryocyte, and in the blood, there is destruction of the platelets. So here in the bone marrow, it is normal patient ka bone marrow. This is the, the platelets are coming out. See, so many platelet by cytoplasmic fragmentation. And here there are so many megakaryocytes. So it is increased megakaryocytes in ITP. So this is a single megakaryocyte. You can see such a large cell. Okay, next is your antiplatelet IgG antibody will be present in the serum of this patient. So treatment is spontaneous recovery, that is 90% patient with acute ITP will recover spontaneously, while chronic ones, they will recover less spontaneously, and this is possibly by the corticosteroid therapy, immunosuppressive drugs that you will read in your pharmacology also, and by splenectomy. Is it clear? The first thing, ITP. Everyone? Any doubts? No? Okay. Next thing is thrombotic thrombocytopenic purpura. So this thing, from the name itself, see, this you have to remember little bit because it is a pentad, that there is 5 symptoms, okay? First thing you can remember, this is a disease of thrombocytopenia, right? So there will be, first thing is thrombocytopenia. From thrombocytopenia, the first thing is microangiopathic hemolytic anemia, that I will explain how it is happening. So this is the first thing you should remember, there is microangiopathic hemolytic anemia. Next is the patient will have neurological symptoms. There will be renal dysfunction followed by fever. So the 5 symptoms you have to remember in this disease. Okay, thrombotic because the thrombus is formed and the less platelet and then bleeding. You have to remember like this, same thing. Like what I have told in the megakaryocytic thrombocytopenia, in the platelet thing, in the blood vessel, what is happening now? A thrombus is formed and it is killing the platelets. Okay, the platelet is overconsumed. So what are the 5 features you will get? First is thrombocytopenia. After that, everyone you can tell, no? Then microangiopathic hemolytic anemia. After that, patient will have neurological symptom, renal symptoms and fever. Okay. So how it is happening you have to know. Is it clear? Is it clearly visible to everyone? Okay. I have kept this normal primary hemostasis because with that you have to understand the pathogenesis in TTP. So normally what is happening here? Normally what is happening here is that first there will be injury, okay, what I have told you previously also, and then it will expose the subendothelial collagen. So von Willebrand factor will come and this platelet will form a bond with the von Willebrand factor, right? So now what is happening normally, so there will be a bond between, that is platelet adhesion, that is your platelet plus von Willebrand factor. Normally the von Willebrand factor is synthesized and it is destroyed. So whenever there is only injury, von Willebrand factor will come, right? Without injury, will it get exposed? No, right? Normally it will not get exposed. But in this disease, what is happening here is that This von Willebrand factor, normally it is destroyed by an enzyme, that is von Willebrand factor metalloprotease, okay, which is synthesized by a gene, that is ADAMTS13. Okay, you have to remember this, that von Willebrand factor is being destroyed by an enzyme, that is von Willebrand factor metalloprotease, which is further synthesized by a gene, that is ADAMTS13. Okay, so now this von Willebrand factor is not there in normal without injury, it is not there, but here what is happening, there is this ADAMTS13 is mutated or it is deficient. Now what is happening, normally it is destroyed, but in this condition it is not destroyed because these two enzymes, this gene and the enzyme is absent. So who will destroy the von Willebrand factor? It is present in the plasma. So what will happen now? The levels of von Willebrand factor will be increased. Okay, because no one has destroyed the von Willebrand factor. Because why? Because this gene and its enzyme who are destroying normally the von Willebrand factor, it is absent. Okay, it is mutated. So no one will destroy the von Willebrand factor. Now this von Willebrand factor level will be increased. Okay. Okay, till this much did you understand, everyone? Anyone who has not understood can raise their hands. I'll explain. Why you are sitting? Did I tell you to sit? No, right? Okay. Anyone? Did you understand? All of you? Okay, so now what is happening here? There will be von Willebrand factor that is normally without injury, it is not coming. It is not getting exposed, but due to the absence of this enzyme and this gene, because it will not destroy the von Willebrand factor, now this von Willebrand factor will increase in the plasma. Now what will happen? Unnecessarily without injury also, this von Willebrand factor will call the platelet. Okay, to seal the wound. There is no injury. But now unnecessarily due to this increased levels of von Willebrand factor, it will call the platelet to seal the wound, and then the platelet will be utilized and there will be thrombus formation inside the blood vessel. Okay, is it did you understand? I will tell once again. See, this von Willebrand factor is increased. Now what is happening? What is happening here? It will call the platelets to seal the wound. There is no injury, but due to increase in the von Willebrand factor, the platelet, they are calling the platelet, you have to come and seal the wound. So the platelet are getting utilized unnecessarily. There is no injury, but due to increased von Willebrand factor level, the platelet are coming, they are sealing the wound. Okay, there is no injury, so there is a thrombus formation inside the blood vessel. So that's why the name itself is thrombotic thrombocytopenic purpura, means a thrombus is formed and then the platelet count is reduced and then there is bleeding, that is your purpura. Okay, so this is the mechanism that I have written here also. So deficiency of the enzyme, that is ADAMTS13, that is your von Willebrand factor metalloprotease, that will degrade the von Willebrand factor. Now what will happen? Normally it is deficient, so it will not be able to degrade the von Willebrand factor. So there will be multimers of the von Willebrand factor that is accumulated in the plasma, so they will be increased in the levels, and then it will promote the platelet thrombus formation throughout the microcirculation and it will cause the TTP. Is it clear? Can you tell me? Yeah, tell. What is the disease name? Yeah, tell me.
The von Willebrand factor increases, it causes the platelets to seal off the site of injury, but there is no injury.
Whenever there is injury, what is happening?
Platelets come and
Whenever there is injury, there will be the subendothelial tissue that will expose the collagen and von Willebrand factor. Okay, without injury, it will not get exposed. In normal condition, the von Willebrand factor is synthesized and then it is destroyed, because if it is present, it will lead to thrombus formation. So normally it is happening that, but in this disease, what is happening?
in this disease, the von Willebrand factor increases.
Because the enzyme which is destroying this von Willebrand factor is absent. It is mutated. Okay.
So since there is no injury, but still the von Willebrand factor is calling up the platelets.
So the level is increasing.
The thrombo.
So with the platelet, with the platelet, it is forming a thrombus inside the blood vessel and it is causing the disease. Sit. Okay, so the clinical features here are same as your ITP. These features, only I will tell about this, that is a new feature and that is most important in TTP, is your formation of microthrombi in the blood vessel, that is in the brain vessels, in the kidney blood vessels, and also how this anemia is developing. Now inside the blood vessel, there is thrombus, right, in this disease. So now when the RBC, normally in the blood vessel, RBCs are also there. So RBC will come and collide with this thrombus now, and then it will get ruptured and it will cause anemia in the patient. Okay, that is your microangiopathic hemolytic anemia. Okay, so whenever there is a thrombus in a blood vessel, this RBC will come and collide with those and it will get ruptured. RBC will get ruptured and it will cause anemia in the patient, that is microangiopathic hemolytic anemia. Okay, so the lab finding here also platelet count will be, platelets are getting utilized because they are forming thrombus unnecessarily without injury. So platelet will be getting exhausted, right? So the platelet count in the patient will be, don't mug it up, please try to understand so that you can remember all, because so many diseases are there. You have to write in this format only the lab findings, everything, if you want to get good marks. Because the first thing, if ITP also comes as a long question, you have to write introduction, then you have to write what are the types of ITP, acute, chronic. You have to write the individual pathogenesis. You have to write the clinical features. You have to write the lab findings. Till that much you have to write in a long question if you want to score a good mark. Okay, so BT will be increased, and in the blood film, same as ITP. Occasional platelet, bone marrow increased number of megakaryocyte, because both of them are megakaryocytic thrombocytopenia. So there will be increased number of megakaryocyte. One exceptional thing is in biopsy, there will be microthrombi in the artery, capillaries and venules. Is it clear? Is it clear? Okay, because in the last ITP, you didn't get this point, right? So here the thrombus is forming, so there will be microthrombi in the artery, in the capillaries and the venules. Okay, now the last thing in this megakaryocytic thrombocytopenia and other diseases, hemolytic uremic syndrome. So in the previous disease, it was a triad or pentad symptoms. It was a pentad of symptoms. Here it is triad of symptoms. The same symptoms only, but the few things are not present in this disease. That is only your thrombocytopenia, your microangiopathic hemolytic anemia, and the patient will have renal dysfunction. So the pentad and triad you have to remember so that you don't get confused in which there is pentad and which there is triad. Okay, so now how it is happening? So hemolytic uremic syndrome, it is actually of two types. One is typical, one is atypical. So I think diarrhea has been covered, right, in your micro. Okay, so now you know the name of a bacteria. See, first thing, in ITP, autoantibodies are destroying the platelet. In TTP, thrombus is forming, it is destroying, the platelets are getting utilized. In this, bacteria is, utilizing the platelet and there is thrombocytopenia. So the name of the bacteria is E. coli and the strain is, so patient is suffering from acute gastroenteritis that is caused by E. coli bacteria. The strain is O157H7. So this E. coli secrete a Shiga-like toxin in the circulation. Okay, from the bacteria, it will secrete a Shiga-like toxin in the circulation, and now the normal function of the endothelium will be altered, and there will be the same thing that has happened in the TTP. So in a blood vessel, there is one E. coli has entered, and E. coli is now secreting a Shiga-like toxins, and it is forming the platelets are unnecessarily without injury also, it is getting utilized and it is coming in the blood vessels. So the normal endothelial function is altering. Now unnecessarily platelets are getting activated and aggregated. Okay, and it is causing the typical HUS. Okay, is it clear? The same thing only, how thrombocytopenia is developing. In the same three diseases only, you have to write how thrombocytopenia is developing. So you have to write about the pathogenesis. Here the bacteria is coming in the blood vessel. It is secreting Shiga-like toxins because normal endothelial function is altered. Platelet activation aggregation is happening unnecessarily. So platelet are getting consumed in these diseases and it is causing typical HUS. Now the lab finding here, that is the most important, the peripheral smear of the Hus and TTP shows features of microangiopathic hemolytic anemia that I have told you how it is developing. So you can see here the RBC will be biconcave shape, right, in the blood film. So now you can see the RBCs are broken. It is fragmented RBC. Here also you can see it is fragmented light color one RBC which is broken. So these are known as cystocytes. Okay, fragmented RBC, that is the abnormal form of RBC. Other are helmet cells, Burr cells and target cells. So in patients of Hus and TTP, we will get what? What are this? What we will get? Fragmented RBC known as cystocytes, and other are helmet cell, Burr cell and target cell. Okay. So now you should tell me about the difference of this TTP and Hus. Everyone. So TTP will happen in adults and it is happening in children less than 5 years because it's diarrhea. So MAHA is present or absent in this microangiopathic hemolytic anemia? Is it absent or present in both the disease? Present. Okay. So thrombocytopenia, it is present or absent? Present. Fever is present or absent? Present in pentad, that is TTP, and it is absent in Hus. Okay. So renal failure is? It is not that much common, but in pentad it is there, right? Okay. So neurological abnormality, it is more common in TTP than Hus. And then diarrhea will be present in Hus, that is your caused by which bacteria? E. coli, which is secreting Shiga-like toxin. Yeah. Okay. So other things, no need. Now what is thrombocytosis? It is defined as platelet count in excess of 4 lakhs and it is occurring due to following massive hemorrhage, iron deficiency, severe sepsis, marked inflammation, disseminated cancers, hemolysis and following splenectomy. Okay. So now is the other part of thing, that is your disorders in platelet function. Okay. So in disorder of platelet function, they are classified in inherited and acquired disorder. So in inherited disorder, that I have told you in the beginning, what is adhesion, what is aggregation, what is release reaction. So whenever there will be defective platelet adhesion, the disease is named as Bernard-Soulier syndrome. So now you have to remember there are 2 receptors on the platelet surface. One is glycoprotein 1b receptor and one is glycoprotein, that is 2b3a receptor. So in Bernard-Soulier, because it is an inherited disorder, so it is autosomal recessive congenital bleeding disorder in which the patient, there is congenital absence of this receptor. Okay, so there is absence, so the platelet will not get adhered because it is an adhesion disorder. This is a defective platelet adhesion disorder. So in this disease, adhesion of the platelet to the subendothelium is defective because of absence of this receptor. Is it clear? Is it clear? What is happening? Can you stand and tell Kumar? Just you have to remember the name of the receptor which is getting affected in Bernard-Soulier and then Glanzmann's thrombus, because examiner will ask you this thing only, the 2 diseases and the receptor which is getting affected. So the receptor is glycoprotein 1b. Okay. Sit. So it is a adhesion disorder or aggregation disorder? Adhesion disorder. Okay, so here it is aggregation disorder, that is known as Glanzmann's thrombasthenia. So here also it is autosomal recessive bleeding disease and the platelet aggregation is deficient. So because why? Because normally it is this receptor is present, but now in this patient there is congenital absence of this receptor, that is GP2B3A receptor complex. So aggregation will not happen in this patient. Okay, just the name and the receptor you remember. And what is the platelet adhesion or aggregation or release reaction? Just remember that thing. Okay, now the last thing is the platelet release reaction. That is the platelet, when it is adhere, the granules will be released normally, right? That is ADP and thromboxane will be released normally. So here in this patient, it will not get released. So there will be no release of ADP, prostaglandin and 5-HT because defective of the intrinsic deficiencies. Okay. Last slide of today's class. Next is acquired disorders of platelets. So acquired disorder will happen due to drugs. I think it has been covered in pharmacology, that is by aspirin. Why aspirin acts as an antiplatelet drug in practice? It is also an important question in pharma. So other drugs like NSAIDs, penicillin, cephalosporins and everything, and myeloproliferative neoplasm, paraproteinemias and uremias. For this, all this platelet function will be reduced, and they will be, these are the causes of acquired disorder. Okay.